So the first is Tal Catran. Tal is a prominent figure in the global innovation ecosystem, and he's actually founded 17 startup accelerators since 2012. He in both Israel and abroad and taking them globally. It's rather positioned him as a guru on accelerators, hubs, and startup ecosystems. So over the years, Tal has run over 60 cohorts with nearly 1,000 startups coming through his accelerators. He serves as an advisory board member in a variety of companies and tech startups. So he really knows his stuff, and he's actively involved in promoting and mentoring various ecosystems across the globe. He's a keynote speaker in TEDx and on startups, innovation and entrepreneurship. So we're very lucky to be joined by him today. And Tal, if I can ask you to unmute and turn on your video, we'll be hearing from you for about 10 minutes on some advice and anything you can share for our audience today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Joe, for having me here. So excited to be here. Definitely excited to see the counter of participants running up. This is not something that you see too often, and I think more than that is to see the welcoming. Oh my God, like everyone is kind of welcoming and telling you're here, and this is purely amazing. I hope to see that on all the conferences I'm participating, and I do kind of challenge you not just to say hello, but also introduce yourself and use this chat not just to ask questions, but also to present yourself and share ideas what you can take and bring. So I'm here to talk about fundraising for FemTech. Well, I know a few things about FemTech. As me and my co-founder, we established in 2018 Eve FemTech Hub, the one hub in Israel doing FemTech. Honestly, when she reached out to me and she said FemTech, I was like, FinTech? She said, no, FemTech. I did not have a clue what FemTech was, like women's digital health. I didn't know the first clue about it. I can tell you after near 3 years now that I know gynecologist myself. And I see the challenges. Again, I'm very proud to say that half of the startups I saw were led by women, but the other half was led by men. So this is that FemTech is not women empowerment. FemTech is women's digital health. And I do hope we have some men in the audience here as well. Now, aside from that, I'm here to speak about fundraising. That's the hot potato. So if you ask any startup what's so difficult for you to do, probably you will hear two things. One is to find my second half, let's say the technical person I need to bring on board. That's usually the problem. People have tons of ideas, but less people are kind of savvy on the technology. I'm talking about the innovators. And then the second part will be fundraising. Now, you would assume that since women count for more than half of the population on Earth, and they have what they have in way of what they need, you would kind of assume that they will be also the best innovators for what they need, because I mean, it makes sense that if you're so familiar with the problem, you would be the best to come with the solution. Well, I don't know to say much about it. As I said, I saw half and half, but that is really not the criteria for me to kind of judge if it's good or not. I'm here to speak, as I said, about fun and why it's difficult, by the way, in general. It's not just difficult for FemTech. It's generally difficult to raise funds. Because if you think about it, it would be mostly, when do I start funding? I mean, when do I start to raise funds? Usually, if you ask me, people start too early. They start before validating their idea. Like, you're not kind of 100% baked and sure about your idea, and you already expect someone to pay for your idea. Well, if turn the tables, probably you will not be doing the same. You will ask a simple question: did you validate? And if the answer was, well, I'm in the process, you will say, great. You seem to be like a great team and a great person, and I'm really impressed. Have some more meat on the stick and then come back. Go and validate and then kind of call me. So about fundraising, I just want to kind of change a little bit, if I can, this perception that when you wake up any startup in the middle of the night, you ask you, what do you need? Money. I need to raise funds. Did you ever stop and ask, why do you need to raise funds? I mean, are you going to buy your next Tesla X? Are you going to take a dividend? Of course not. Taking a salary is something that you don't think about as a startup. So why would you need the money? And the answer would be to do R&D, or in more simple words, I need to pay salary to someone. Well, let me tell you also as an angel investor, my expectation would be that if you're so great on the idea, you will have some additional powers to magnet to you the people that you need, that the people you need to get help. I mean, you need people to help you magnet them with your ability. Otherwise, you know what? With money, I can do everything. I can do great marketing. I can do an amazing presentation. I can do, I don't know, amazing video, and I can develop technology with the money. But the issue is your startups. The one thing that you don't have is money. You have brain capacity. You have charisma. You have passion. You have so many things that need to work for you in order to attract and connect. So if you just indulge this thought that maybe the fact that people tell you you must raise money is not a must, and you can go a different way in finding people that would become your partners, maybe you don't need to raise funds. But let's say that you do need, and we can still need to discuss this FemTech raising money. And what we will probably see is that FemTech startups are kind of, I don't know, 2% maybe of the entire money that you will raise as the entire companies in health, in health, digital health. FemTech counts for maybe 2%, maybe 3%, almost a nothing. How is it? How is it that this amount of companies that have raised money, I think 500, 600 million, kind of in the neighborhood of last year, from the total of, I think, over 60 or near $70 billion that the entire digital health community raised. It's almost nothing. How is it? I think we cannot kind of hide from the fact that, well, when you look at the market of investors, probably you will be meeting men. You meet me. What do I know about FemTech? Okay, I know about FemTech, but how much can I relate to the problem of, I don't know, menstrual, urine, pregnancy? What do I know? I never felt it. I don't know how it feels. Now you come to convince me and say, this is what the world needs. I think, for one, try and take it to where I can relate to things I can feel maybe in the way that I live my life, just as an example, because I cannot live a woman's life. You need to bring it to the common denominator, which is my life, number one. Number two, like speaking in kind of men terms. Again, you can avoid it when you talk to male investors. This is how it is. Second, I think that the most kind of question I hear is, how is it that in general, startups led by women count for less than 10% of the entire startup ecosystem in the world generally? Why? I think that it has something to do with women in general kind of being more shy of taking risks. They want it kind of more secured. And startups are all about risk because, I don't know, 96, 97, 94, who cares? Number of startups will kind of shut down first year of operation anyway. So you're gonna entering the most riskiest job on earth. Go to a lion's den is more secure than having a startup. But when you're,
there's also a big part about the ecosystem, isn't there, and how it's sort of the structural kind of limitations that mean some of the decision making is led by, you know, white male urban-based professionals, and so, like you said, then the money flows to things they understand and care about, which oftentimes is the innovations from other white male urban-based professionals. And we see a plethora of dry cleaning apps and food delivery apps and taxi services as people outsource their mother, quite frankly. So there's the both sides, isn't there? There's probably women maybe aren't as risk-taking, but I think there's a whole lot of work which we'll explore in the panel, I'm sure, around the ecosystem. Would you agree with that?
Was that my cue to stop? So I agree with everything that you said. and that's it.
Yeah, no. I mean, I was interested in your response, but that's certainly something we'll be diving into later, because I think it's very easy to say that women aren't risk takers, and probably that is true as a generalization. But I think it goes so much deeper than that in the structural kind of obstacles that females face, and whether it is pitching to male investors. Should we always be having to moderate our pitch, and can we not meet halfway with men, like really trying to understand the innovation rather than having to kind of dumb it down or translate it? And so there's a meeting of minds that has to be some middle ground there, and that's certainly been my experience in pitching fertility to male investors.
So I would agree with you if I would to see as an investor any startup led by a woman pitching to me. I relate to what you're saying, but when we touch the issue of FemTech, men just don't get it, and you do need to alter. Don't just say, you know what, that's my truth, I want it. Good, go ahead. You will not raise money. Probably you will not. So, flow. In the end, what matters is the end result. Startups are about delivery, about the bottom line of things. And what you want to get, if you want to get the money, it's get the money. But get the money in a way. Get the money in a way that if you have good technology, it probably with a good team, it will work for you anyways. I see the startup that raise money, including the FemTech. The good one raise money, no doubt about it, regardless if it's a man or whatever. What I do see, to my surprise, is I would look at women investors as more open to the issue, and this is not what I'm seeing. I'm not seeing women investors saying, oh, you know, I understand in the subject, I will take it. No, they will tell, same as men, listen, we invest in good startups. I don't care what they do inside.
I mean, inevitably, I think you have to translate it, and there's a piece of education in the pitch, isn't there, to bring people on the journey with you to understand the problem and your solution. So there's got to be a meeting in the middle there. But I do also think there is that unconscious bias, and sometimes more conscious, or just not understanding the issue. So it has to be in terms that the investor can understand, but it also needs to be true to the founder's integrity, I think. So an issue I really look forward to exploring a bit later on. So thank you so much, Tal.